So Billie, what I want to start with is we kind of talked about it just before the camera went on, but this is your first tour, if I'm right. So how is this treating you?
Well, it's my second tour, but still pretty much first because touring is a hard thing, and you know when you're in it, you only know what's happening like when you're doing it. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's not the kind of thing you can be like, oh, I know what tour's like. I know everything when you've never done it. It's very weird. It's very strange and a lot of work. But no, it's been okay. I mean, it's exhausting as shart, but it's my job, so I'm cool with it.
When all of this kind of started off, were you expecting this?
No. Dude, no. Yo, what's crazy is like, I remember like, I was in some meeting, I was like 13, because this is when I released that song and it somehow became more than just some song on SoundCloud. And I suddenly was going to these like meetings to like meet people that like wanted to like work with me. I was like, what do you want? What? Like, it was crazy. And I remember somebody saying at some point, like pretty deep into that world sort of, and they were like, you know, like if you go on tour and then, you know, what if this happened? And I remember thinking like, tour? I'm never gonna go on tour. Like that's only like, you know, people like really artists do that. You know, real artists go on tour. I'm not gonna go. I was like, here I am, like fucking in Amsterdam for the third time, which is like, what? I have no idea. It's crazy. It's unbelievable.
But that's interesting because I think the first two songs that you wrote with your brother were She's Broken and Fingers Crossed.
Yeah.
And there was no intent, I believe, with that song. So
God, no, thank God.
Everything that's happening now, did you want it?
Oh yeah, 100% I wanted it. I've always wanted it. It's never, thing is like it was never like I don't even know how to explain it. I was talking about it earlier, is that it's always the thing that I've wanted and that I've, you know, I think subconsciously worked for. But it was never like, I'm gonna do this so I can get here, so I can do this, so I can go here, so that I can be a star. That shit is lame. Like, you can work. Dude, work your ass off, like, to get where you want. I definitely am now. And, you know, you have to, or else you will literally not do anything in life at all. Sure. That's just how life works. You have to work for things. But, you know, I didn't, like, train for this. You can't. You know, it's just random.
Well, that's interesting because you did grow up in a very musical, very creative family. And
yeah.
I believe I read somewhere that your parents wrote music as well. So
yeah.
What kind of music did they write?
Well, my mom like taught me and my brother both how to write music, and that's like pretty much how we learned how to write music. I don't know how I would describe it. My mom's sitting over there. I don't know, singer-songwriter kind of thing. Like, yeah, she's sort of nodding her head. I don't know.
What captured your attention in songwriting?
Well, songwriting is different for me than just music in general, or like singing, or, you know, performing or playing, because songwriting doesn't really come easy for me. It comes really easy for my brother, and I feel like really easy for my mom, but you know, it's never been like oh, I'm just gonna write a song. Like, I'm just gonna go and write a whole song and be happy with it at all. At all. I still haven't done that. I've written songs. I've written tons of different verses for random songs, and like, I've definitely written a bunch of like whole songs, but for me, it's not really, songwriting itself has never really been it for me, because it's just, I have other things that I feel more. And songwriting is definitely the bottom line, so everything that I do kind of leads into songwriting, and then that's when I write. But it takes a lot more out of me to write a song than to just, you know, come up with a melody. Melodies are kind of my thing, and like, I think I'm sort of good at writing melodies, and like, I like to sing, so that's kind of what I like the most. And, you know, my brother produces all of it, so it's kind of us sitting in his room, and like, I'm like, can you do this? Can you like make this sound like this? Or can you do this and change this and do this? And then, yeah, I think that's all I'm trying to say.
in that sense then, because was there a moment where you felt comfortable with what you were writing or what the output was? Was there kind of a turning point?
I'd say that working with my brother is like when I feel like that, okay. You know, when I actually am like, this is what I want, you know, this is like what I'm happy doing, and like working with him, because he's such a genius with writing. It just is like, it's like walking for him. It's insane. I don't understand. What the hell? I don't know how. I really don't. Because like songwriting is like, I really have to try to write a good song or something that I'm proud of. And I definitely have. Sure. But for him, it's just like, he's just a writer. And my mom is a writer. And my brother's a lot like my mom. I'm a lot like my dad. So, I don't know. They're both geniuses.
Let me ask it differently then. And this might be very tough to describe, but what for you makes a good song? What is necessary to have a good song?
Right. Well, I definitely think lyrics are, I wouldn't say most important, but everything is most important with a song. You know what I mean? Like, everything about a song is important. And I think, like, for me, and the way that I write with my brother and stuff, is that, like, it should be a song that if you play it acoustic or a cappella, it should still sound good, you know? Because there's so many songs that are only good because of the production. So many songs, and you know, people overhype them because it's a good beat, but it's like they're just saying the same word over and over. Like, what? Who is that helping, you know? And I think like just writing a song that you can literally play with like a guitar and a vocal, that's when it's really a song. And you know, like I feel like, and a lot of artists do that, which I really respect, and that's kind of how I try to work. But you know, lyrics are definitely the most important thing.
I've wrote some down, so maybe we can get into later.
For sure.
Well, but part of it as well, where you say songwriting doesn't come naturally or very easy to you as it does your brother.
Yeah.
Do you have to be in a specific mood, and especially even if you think about lyrics as well?
Yeah. I think that's a big part of it. Like, cause sometimes I'm like, I could literally go and sit and write like 8 songs right now. It's all up here. And then sometimes I'm like, for like a month, I'll just be like the desert in my brain. That's what it looks like. But, you know, the thing is that like, I just would say that songwriting itself is not my forte. I have so many other things that I really like to do and that I think I'm better at doing than songwriting. A lot of things, you know, and like the creative aspect of all of it is definitely my thing, you know, like I'm a visual artist, so that's kind of what comes first for me. So all of like my videos are my treatments, and everything I wear is like styled by me, and the help of like Samantha Burkhart. But it's just like that's where I go, you know, creatively, and like, you know, clothing is like fashion is like what I love, and so that's kind of where I go.
Well, does a lot of the inspiration for music then come out of these other creative
Totally.
fields?
I mean, like, all of the influences come out everywhere. I mean, you get influences from everything. You get inspiration from, like, I could literally, like, look at this bag and be like, look at how the zipper is, and look at how, like, the shapes go like this, and how the colors change, and how the belt buckles like, you know, the way that the belt buckles, or like the way that it clips, or the way that it tugs and whatever. You can get any inspiration from anything, to write a song, to make a shirt, to like come up with a video, you know, like it just comes out of everything you can look at, you know. You can get creative and inspired by anything, really. So I think I'm definitely always doing that, I'd say, and like letting it out in songwriting and singing, and the way that I perform, and the way that I, you know, act and stuff like that.
And I've read that some of the songs are very much from your own experience, and others are a little bit more towards the fictional.
Yeah.
For instance, with a song like Billie, how much of yourself do you, and this is going to sound weird, but how much of yourself is in that song?
Well, it's kind of half and half, because obviously the song is not, I don't kill people. Like, I never killed anybody, or so I know of. I never killed anybody. I never stole anybody's, like, I never stole from a bank. I never did any of the stuff I talk about. But the thing is that, like, that song has so many more deeper meanings that anyone can come up with, you know? Like, some people ask me, you know, what's that song about? And the thing is that I definitely have an opinion in what I wrote the song about and what I think the song is about for me, but I don't necessarily want you to know that, because I want to leave the doors open for people to just think what they want to think, you know? If they think it's about this person doing this or like this and this, like, that's just where I want people to be creative and just kind of have a mind of their own, because that's what's cool about art, is that you can interpret it in any way you want. And like, even with lyrics, it's like, if you hear one of my lines and you think I said something that's not actually the lyric, if you think that's cooler than the real lyric, then like, change it. Like, who cares, you know?
But in that sense, do songs evolve or change in meaning for you as well?
Wait, do what?
Do songs evolve or change in meaning for you?
Totally. Which is weird, because I'm me and the song is the song, you know? But when you kind of evolve, your brain is like forming into this different creature, but it's the same. Life is a weird thing, dude.
No, well, I want to ask you for an example, but you say you don't want to kind of explain exactly what you think. So is there an example of kind of how your perspective has changed on a specific song?
Oh. Well, there's definitely like lyrics that I think have changed with my music and other music, you know, like, God, what would be one now? I feel like I have a good example in my head and I just don't know it. But you know, when you listen to a song when you're like little,
right,
that meant something specific to you then, and maybe you had the lyrics completely wrong, but you were like, oh, that's so sick, I love that. And then you grow up and it's kind of like, you still remember that feeling, but it means something completely different to you, because maybe you actually know what that means because you're an adult and not a child, or your brain is just like, this is how I'm feeling, you know? You can change all the time. You can change the way you're feeling, you know? You don't always have to feel the same things.
And that's an interesting part, because I can assume that in the last 2-3 years your life has changed quite drastically.
Yep.
So those songs, especially those early ones, Ocean Eyes, how do you look at them now? Are they a distant past?
They are in the past. I mean, yeah, but they still are really close to me. You know what I mean? Like, no matter how much I've evolved and how much I'm evolving and how much I'm going to evolve, you know, Ocean Eyes specifically is like what made me get where I am. And I could never be more grateful than that. You know what I mean? So no matter how sick I get of the song, or, cause you know, like every artist that has like a big song hates that song. Honestly, ask any artist like about their biggest song, be like, do you like that song? You're like, fuck no, I hate that song. But I'm grateful for it, you know, I'm really happy with what it's done.
There's one line in particular I wanted to ask you about, and it's, I don't want to be you anymore.
Yeah.
I just wish you could feel what you say, but I know you too well. That's that line, where does it come from?
Well, a lot of places. Here. But that song is written to me in the mirror. So all the lyrics, even though I'm saying you, and you know, I wish you could feel what you say, show never tell, but I know you too well. You know what I mean? It sounds like I'm talking to someone. Oh, I'm just having a conversation with someone, but I'm looking in the mirror and I'm saying this all to myself. You know, it's like, it's weird, because that song, I'd say, is, you know, I write a lot of fictional stuff and I write a lot of stuff that's just storytelling, because it's fun, but that's the song that's kind of, I think, the realest and the closest to, you know, what's really how I feel inside and what I felt for my whole life, really. And I think it's one of those things that's like, everyone's looked in the mirror and not wanted to be the person in the mirror. Everyone. You know, you can be like the luckiest person on the planet. You can have all you want in the world and whatever, and no matter if you're happy or sad, you can look in the mirror and not want to be that person. And that's just a relatable thing, I feel like, and everyone's felt that way and been there, so I kind of took it to the next level. And actually, like, how that song like happened was because we were writing Copycat, which is like about someone wanting to be me, and then we were like, what could we do like we were just like brainstorming, and the bridge in Copycat is all the same chords and I Don't Want to Be You Anymore. So we basically wrote almost the opposite of the song, you know? So it's Copycat, and then I Don't Want to Be You Anymore, talking about myself. So it's like everyone's copying me, but I don't even want to be me, you know?
Right.
So some weird shit.
With that song then, because it's obviously quite personal, like you say, it may be the most honest song that you've written.
Yeah.
Have you had a different reaction to that song than to some of the others? From fans and...
Well, I mean, like, people have reactions to all sorts of different things. Like, it's crazy to see. It's honestly really insane, because, you know, their favorite song of mine will be like a song that I like forgot about, you know, that I just like was like, what? Like, that's just so insane that song means so much to you, and it's amazing. And like, I don't know, I think I Don't Want to Be You Anymore is probably the most, I'd say it's kind of the one that like all the people that I think are cool that know me like that song. I mean, sick, like tight, but I don't know.
Was it difficult to write?
It hurt a little because it's me. I was like, you know, pointing out all of my bad qualities, basically. All of the things that I don't really like about myself that much in another way. So, I mean, my brother wrote half of it too. So we write everything together. So it's like, it's a really collaborative thing, but it hurt a little. And like, when I listen to it now, I'm like, you're so mean. Like, I hear it now, like, as if someone's talking to me, because they are. But then I'm like offended, because I'm like, excuse me, like, don't be like that. Like, don't be that way, fall apart twice. They're like making fun of me. But that's the whole point, so.
But in that sense, and is that the payoff in a way, because, or how music functions, that after writing a song like that, you can kind of get over it?
Kinda, yeah. I mean, obviously I've definitely not gotten over the way that I felt in that, you know? Like, writing it's not a cure at all. I just feel like some people are like, you know, writing is my, like, it's what gets me out, like, music is my escape. And it's like, well, it can help, but, you know, writing music and writing the way you feel isn't going to change anything. It's just kind of making you more aware. So you could be the most depressed person in the world and write a song about it, and you'll still be the most depressed person in the world. You know, like, it's not going to change. You're the only person that can change you. So that's up to you. It's not up to a song.
Right.
Yeah.
Finally then, this is all from the EP, which was, I believe, released in August of last year.
Yeah.
Have you been writing now for what will be the debut album?
Oh yeah.
What have you noticed about what you're writing?
Well, it's kind of exciting, because it's like, we've really not written all of it. We've written like tons of different like songs and just like random stuff. And obviously we're touring now, so that's what we're focused on. But what's kind of cool is that knowing that I'm working on an album that I haven't finished at all is interesting, because this is kind of the time in my life where I'm growing the most. I'm literally like a child. So, you know, this is when I grow the most. This is when I evolve the most. And like, my brain is constantly like doing this and changing and having different opinions. It's exhausting, but it's kind of fun to watch. And I'm kind of like really excited to see what my mind comes up with and what changes.
Is it very diverse, what comes out these days?
Yeah, it's really different. And that's just, like, it's just because I want to make a ton of different types of music, different genres. Like, people who say they only like one genre, are you kidding me? Like, one genre? That's so stupid. I just think, like, I'm not any genre. I'm what I want to be when I want to be it. And if I want to change, I'll change. You know, I don't really fit into any sort of box. I just am the box.
In that sense, like, this final question, can I assume then you don't really feel pressure for the debut album?
Nah, I don't really feel pressure at all. Okay. I think the only pressure I feel is from myself.
Okay.
Because, like, I'm the only person I need to impress, realistically. So I'm just trying to make myself proud. Ew, that's such a gross sentence. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited.
All right.
I'm excited.
Billie, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing.